the South American rainforest. Here, on the Essequibo River in Guyana, the continent's biggest mammals, reptiles, and birds come out to play. The tiger, the anaconda, the caiman, and the harpy eagle. For 10 years, German natural history filmmaker Rainer Bergamaas and Amerindian forest ranger Young Sandy have been challenging the rainforest, finding and filming South American wildlife. The anaconda, a 440-pound swimming snake, may grow to 30 feet. But it still can't touch another spectacular predator that soars high above the rainforest. The harpy eagle. With the sharpest eye and beak in nature, and claws longer than a grizzly bear's. But they are caring parents too. They rule the canopy of South America's unspoiled rainforests. Essequibo River in Guyana. They are deep in the forest, heading to the domain of the harpy. This eagle needs a wild territory of at least 12 square miles. That's only found far from humans. Rapids and waterfalls form a barrier against civilization. They make the river useless as a highway. On the other side of the waterfall lies the harpy's territory, and a whole ecosystem of animals that couldn't survive around humans. The only way to get there is over hundreds of meters of rock steps. It looks spectacular enough now, and this is the dry season. When the rains come, this will be an impassable, raging torrent. But it's also a special environment of its own, not to be missed. It's home to tiger herons, having a wonderful time fishing in the pools. In the gaps between the waterfalls live spectacled caiman, so called because of the bony ridge over their eyes. In the right light, it looks like the frame of a pair of horn-rimmed eyeglasses. These caiman can grow up to 8 feet long. The fish almost jump into their jaws. Whenever the water level drops, the water plants burst into bloom. They may have only days to be pollinated and produce seeds before the water rises again. Then they must cling on to the rocks and hope they're not eaten by the pacu. These big vegetarian relatives of piranhas live only in these quiet pools among the rapids. Getting past these rocks and waterfalls will take a whole day of hard work, so Rainer and Young take a rest. Everything has to be unpacked and carried up. Each rock step takes at least an hour, and almost as long to get back down for the next load. mass load is the boat itself, all 440 pounds of it. To speed things along, Jung employs available technology. At the next cataract, they drag the boat up a side channel. It's quicker, but if the rope snaps, they'll lose the boat and have a long walk home. It's taken all day to climb 100 feet. But as they survey the scene, already one thing is clear. They've entered another world. This family of giant otters has come to enjoy the variety of fish in the pool. They're so relaxed because they don't recognize humans as dangerous. The waterfall barrier has done its trick. Every otter flashes a different white mark on its throat, but scientists think otters recognize each other by scent, not sight. This rock is an otter family bathroom. All the members of the family do their business here to strengthen the scent that marks it as their own. This space is occupied. From here on, every animal will be claiming its territory against competitors from the same species. It's a powerful way to understand how the rainforest gets divvied up. Above the waterfall, the river splits into many narrow channels. Vines and branches crowd over the water and make the going tough. This capuchin monkey mimics Rainer's gestures. It's a sign of high intelligence. In nature, these monkeys even use tools. And as with humans, imitation is a vital part of learning and becoming one of the community. The tapir and its young could hardly be more different. Almost blind, they are protected by their sheer bulk. These mammals live in their own world of sights and scents. If the men keep quiet, the tapirs won't notice them. They always stay near the riverbanks where the sunlight reaches the forest floor, and the grasses and water plants they like to eat can grow. South America's biggest mammals can weigh more than half a ton. .130 feet above hangs the canopy. And beyond that, the open sky, realm of the animal Rainer and Jung have come to film. It could be anywhere in this vast expanse. One eagle's territory spans almost 40 square miles. Kapok, the tallest trees in the rainforest, are the only place an eagle will build its nest. This is what they've come to see. Rainer and Jung filmed this mating pair on a previous expedition. With a 6.5-foot wingspan and at about 20 pounds, the female is bigger than the male and twice his weight. She gives the unmistakable mating signal that she's ready, but he hesitates. Harpies breed only every 2 to 3 years, because they look after the fledgling for more than a year before it flies free. This time, Rainer and Jung aim to film a new nest. the hatching, and the early weeks of a chick, all in the short time before the rainy season makes filming impossible. Right now, all they see are other tree dwellers, like the three-toed sloth. The sloth is favorite prey for the harpy. And so are squirrel and the capuchin monkeys. The difference between them is that the sloth will have less chance to get away when the harpy attacks. This female harpy has killed a sloth and carried it down to the riverbank. Harpies cut up their bigger prey immediately after the hunt. But they don't eat it once. They bring back to the nest bit by bit. The male and female harpy have separate hunting territories, so they never get in each other's way. But this female doesn't seem to think much of her kill, and she doesn't stick around. The men have sighted the eagle. So far, so good. Their next task is to find her nest. But that's a job for tomorrow. The toucan wakes them. On to the next phase of the expedition. Time to go vertical. They need a tree that's higher than the rest to use as an observation platform to find the harpy.
There's a rope down here somewhere.
They've done this 1,000 times. First, Jung shoots a fishing line with a crossbow. Then he pulls it back with a thicker line.
Get ready.
Now, Rainer draws a climbing rope over the high branch and attaches it to the next door tree. Then they test the line with their full weight. If a weak branch breaks, the rope slides down to a safer position. These padded harnesses are the ones used in rescue operations. The climbing techniques are borrowed from killers. Rainer goes first to clear the way. The higher they climb, the thicker the vegetation. An acre of forest contains about 4 tons of leaves. This will be their base for the next few weeks, among the moss and plants clinging to the branches for their share of the sunlight. The first animal they see is an all-too-visible sloth. His fat stomach is typical for a leaf-eating herbivore. The only big bird is a king vulture. The sloth is moving much too fast to attract his attention. He's only interested in sniffing out rotting meat. He flaunts that strange piece of flesh on his beak. Nobody knows what it's there for. And suddenly, the harpy arrives. Apparently, she finds the intruders interesting. And when she flies off, they can follow her to her nest. If they get a bearing, they can make the journey on foot.
Okay. Here it's a fort.
It's about 12 miles to the harpy's nest. Easy going because the vegetation isn't thick down here. Few plants, lots of fungi. Big herbivores are rare in the rainforest. But the forest floor teems with invertebrates, insects, even crabs. The rainforest is mostly flat, but in the rainy season the river has carved a deep gorge here. The climbing ropes come into service for some rappelling. Across the river is the 40-meter kapok tree housing the harpy's nest. Too late to cross tonight. By 6, it'll be dark. Tomorrow will be another arduous day. Time to get some rest. First, there's a river to cross. It's running fast, so Jung offers to go ahead with the rope. Rainer has the easy job of following with the waterproof packs. But as the bubble packs get pushed up, he's pushed down. That was harder than expected. And now they still have to climb. From now on, it's all about building up confidence. The harpy female has to get used to them. She'll leave her nest and watch for a while. She has no experience with humans, so she has no reason to see them as a threat, yet. But if she changes her mind, her 5-inch talons could inflict a terrible injury. Harpies protect their nests very aggressively. The men climb up to a side branch of this gigantic tree to keep their distance. They have their vantage point. Now it's up to her. The men can only wait quietly. flies back to her nest. The two yellowish eggs are typical for a harpy. Sitting on the nest is the female's job. The male should bring food, but Raynor and Jung have only seen the female. For the rest of the day, she broods on the eggs. And as night falls, there is still no sign of the male. With the dawn, Raynor and Jung get back in position. As the forest wakes, the nest is deserted. They're not sure what has happened. They even wonder if they've scared the female away. This isn't quite what they'd expected. Even the monkeys come nearer, more relaxed than if the eagle was close by. When she suddenly returns and settles on the eggs, she immediately calls for food, and for the male. But gets no answer. It's beginning to look like she's on her own. To hunt and brood won't be easy. It's an unusual situation. Harpy couples usually stay together. Her instinct tells her to stay in the nest and look after the eggs. She turns them one more time. And settles down. She'll be here for hours. That gives Raynor and Jung the chance to take a closer look at the canopy. The rainforest is divided into layers, with the canopy being the highest and most active. Many species perfectly adapted to life here never touch the ground. The giant Mackie frog lays its eggs in rolled-up leaves overhanging the river. The tadpoles fall into the river, where they become frogs and climb back into the trees. Scarlet macaws gather in a palm tree to eat the nut-like fruits. There are thousands of fruits, but they still squabble over single nuts. They find plenty of nooks and crannies in the crowns to build their nests. These birds live in family groups, grooming each other with great care. They form lifelong partnerships and can live together up to 70 years. Predators live in the canopy too. A young emerald boa lies in wait for prey. But this green iguana spots it and looks for cover. Here in the canopy, the camouflage of both hunter and hunted approaches perfection. There comes a moment when the best defense is to do absolutely nothing. The lizard can escape this vine snake too. The eagle ignores the activity around her. A troop of Guyanese howler monkeys approaches, on the lookout for young sweet shoots in the canopy peaks. These are the most nutritious leaves in the rainforest. But the monkeys, which grow up to 22 pounds, need to eat a lot of them. And that takes time to digest. But they never quite stop scanning the skies for danger. As long as it's just vultures, no problem. Back in the nest, the harpy seems to be surviving on old scraps of maggot-infested meat. She is very hungry. Normally, the male would bring her food every other day, but he's still missing. And finally, the female has to leave the nest again to hunt. While she's gone, Ringer leaves too, descending to explore along the riverbanks. Tyra, a tropical weasel, marks its territory with feces. From the variety of old and new droppings here, they're probably not far away. Tyra will eat anything: small vertebrates, insects, reptiles, birds' eggs, and sweet fruit. This pair of young Tyra has only just left the protection of their mother. They'll take care of each other in these most dangerous months of their lives. They have claimed their territory, and they'll defend it together. The shaded forest floor is the realm of the detritus feeders, the detrivores. Centipedes and millipedes close the nutrient cycle in the rainforest. They eat dead organic matter and turn it into humus, food for the plants and the trees. In their world, the top predator is the horned toad. It eats anything that fits into its wide mouth. The giant armadillo eats almost nothing but termites and ants. With its 8-inch claw, it digs a little burrow where it sleeps during the day. Though ideally it shouldn't dig so near the water. Giant armadillos, whose name means little armored one, are the only plated animals. They grow to 3 feet long and weigh over 65 pounds. They have more than 100 vestigial teeth in their mouths, more than any other mammal, but they barely use them. When they're not hunting insects or worms with their long, sticky tongue, they prefer to keep hidden. They're related to anteaters and sloths, and have an enormous ancestor on the South American plains that could have weighed more than 3,000 pounds. Giant armadillos are nearly blind and sense danger by their sense of smell. And when they smell trouble, they cover up. Big cats, like pumas, need vast territories in the rainforest. They post at the riverbank, an area where sunlight hits the forest floor and encourages plant growth, which attracts the herbivores the puma hunts. Like these capybara. relatives of guinea pigs, they are the world's biggest rodents. They always live near water. They're excellent swimmers and divers. And their swimming skills will save them. The puma will not follow them into the water. Though they won't stop trying, pumas rarely catch capybara. The harpy enjoys better luck. She's killed a capuchin monkey. But to do it, she abandoned her nest for several hours. Now she can eat. But when she gets back, will the eggs still be alive? Down below, Rainer spots a tapir, South America's biggest mammal. It's on its way to a rendezvous with a cowbird. This relationship, like the one between oxpeckers and the wildebeest in Africa, has only just been discovered, because tapir are lone creatures that don't live in easy-to-track herds. The cowbird cleans the tapir's tough skin, eating whatever sticks to it. The thick fatty layer beneath the skin protects the tapir from thorns, sharp branches, or puma claws. When it's finished its grooming, the tapir returns to the bank to find food. Tapirs, relatively unchanged for at least 20 million years, are related to rhinos and horses. But one big difference is in the way each of its toes forms its own small hoof. This spread foot is ideal for walking in the mud along the riverbank. Curiously, a tapir's eyes work better in the semi-darkness of the forest. That's why it's most active at dawn and at dusk. But how does the tapir manage to feed his 660-pound frame on the sparse vegetation of the forest floor? Even the tiny leafcutter ants have to climb high into the canopy to collect delicate leaves from the crowns of the trees. They won't eat them. They store the leaf fragments underground, where highly nutritious fungus forms on them. Directly or indirectly, the canopy feeds all the animals of the rainforest. And that goes for the tapir too. The tapir can't get up here. But the monkeys and gravity provide the catering. Monkeys are constantly climbing through the branches looking for the sweetest fruits. Anything they drop, or anything that ripens and falls before they get to it, is a vital source of sugar and vitamins for the tapir. When they combine that with the water plants and grasses on the riverbank, they have a sufficiently varied diet. Now, Jung and Rainer take turns watching the harpy's nest. Around them, capuchin monkeys circle constantly in search of insects, fruits, and flowers. They move much faster than the howler monkeys, who only eat low-energy leaves. If that was all the forest offered, the capuchins would soon starve. When a tropical storm comes, the canopy gives a surprising amount of protection to animals on the forest floor, but very little if you're in the crown. Time to descend. A harpy returns to her nest. She has no protection against the elements. At least she gets to drink the water that runs off her feathers into her beak. She can't leave. She must keep the eggs warm. This is an isolated storm, but it's a sign the rainy season isn't far away. When it comes, the water level can rise 5 meters as the riverbanks reach into the forest. Some of the rocks vanish too, but the high water doesn't become any easier to navigate. Waterfalls and whirlpools can destroy any boat. A big mammal like the tapir hardly notices a small downpour. And an eagle can shrug it off. The storm has brought Jung and Rainer a special treat. A shoal of rainfish have swum upriver to their spawning grounds. This means a feast tonight, but it's also a warning. They have to get back downstream before the waterfalls grow impassable. Time is running out.
So, what's the Harpy, William? I don't know what to do.
The impending rainy season worries Jung and Rainer. If they wait too long, they'll be stuck here. But they've traveled too far to leave without getting what they came for. The eggs, if still alive, should hatch any day now. They decide it's worth the risk. One more week to film a hatching chick. A strange sound draws their attention. They think they know what it is. A night vision camera reveals an anteater. This one will seek termites and other insects in the undergrowth all night long. On the way back, their flashlight picks up an emerald boa. It's too high for a successful lunge. But Jung keeps watching the ground. Amerindians have an extremely developed sense of smell. Jung has caught the scent of a poisonous snake. The fer-de-lance, one of the most poisonous snakes in the rainforest, is fatal to humans. And at 6.5 feet long, so well camouflaged, it's almost impossible to spot. Since last night, this anteater has probably consumed 30,000 ants and termites. His sticky 2-foot-long tongue wheedles the insects out of anthills, holes, and rotten timber. Each individual insect barely offers any nourishment. That's why he has to eat thousands. But he's always careful not to completely empty a nest. His long coat and 16-inch tail make him look far bulkier than he is. His tail makes a fine blanket for his daytime snooze. The first day after the storm is a day of reckoning for the two explorers. What will they find? The nest is empty. And then, a shock. One of the eggs is broken. Has the eagle abandoned the nest? Then a motionless little bundle begins to stir. The chick weighs about 3 ounces at birth, about twice as much as a baby chicken. At just a day old, its legs can't yet carry it. The men are still a little concerned that the mother is nowhere around. Eagles tend to keep the same flight paths, so they know where to look for her. When she does come back, she doesn't bring any new food, but she has plenty of leftovers from the monkey she killed. For a while, she seems to do nothing. She just watches her young. Then, she carefully starts to feed it. If it gets enough food, this chick will double its weight within a week. Right now, it's 100 times lighter than its mother, who will have to feed it for the next 10 months. No easy task for an eagle couple, let alone for a female on her own. A chick's hunger will grow with its size, and even now, the scraps of meat she supplies are hardly big enough. But Rainer and Young aren't worried. This female is a good hunter, and the canopy provides an abundance of food. Rainer and Young have gotten what they came for, and a new Harpy generation has begun.